distinguished guests, Prime Minister Orban, Prime Minister Babiš, Prime Minister Abbott, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't deserve these wonderful words speaking about Serb-Hungarian relationship. It's Prime Minister Orban to be praised by all of us, and he deserves all rewards for the very best relationship that we have, at least in our contemporary history. Thank you, Prime Minister Orban, for your devoted work on Serb-Hungarian relationship, and will remain very faithful friends to you and to your country. I've just come to this place not to lecture anyone, not to teach any kind of lessons, any of you, but to learn a lot from Cardinal, from the leaders, about a problem that is tormenting us on a daily basis. By bringing us together here in Budapest, Prime Minister Orban is leading by example. I believe he is right to prioritize the demographic challenges of our time, because the scale of the situation is critical and requires action now. Exactly 240 kilometers away from us, here, in Serbia, there is a town named Kikinda. 38,605 inhabitants live in it today. Last year, 100,655 people died, while only 63,975 were born. Serbia is smaller by 37,680 people. In 2018, Serbia lost a town the size of that Kikinda. Dear host, it is an entire town the size of your Cegled, if I pronounce that well. Average age in Serbia is 43.2 years, with 20.2% of population that is older than 65. Serbian people have one special expression for negative population growth, the white plague. The observation is cruel, but fair and true. Not a single generation of those who were born after the Second World War has provided simple population reproduction. This data tells us a lot about the very essence of the problem. In the past 75 years, Serbia, economically speaking, had its ups and downs. It had periods of peace and periods of war. It had periods of prosperity, but also periods of economic stagnation and decline. Overall fertility rate in Serbia since mid-1950s has been permanently below the level required for population renewal. It means that if there would be the same number of us next year like this year, number of children per woman should be 2.1, and in Serbia that number is 1.48. Overall fertility rate in Hungary is 1.49, almost identical to ours. But thankfully to Mr. Orban measures, he enormously raised these numbers from 1.2, which is something that should satisfy not only him, but entire Hungarian population, entire Hungarian audience. Similar negative trend is present in both poor and rich European countries. And I can tell you something regarding Serbia's situation. In the richest part of Serbia, particularly in the richest municipalities of Belgrade, we have the lowest fertility rate. In the poorest parts of our country, we have the highest fertility rate. And it became a sort of pattern. And all the measures that we have taken recently showed first results in those poor areas, not in the richest area. In the very heart of Belgrade, the fertility rate is by far the lowest. Is it a reason which was mentioned by esteemed Cardinal here, It's personal fulfillment, or I dare to say personal selfishness, or something that we made in a very wrong way. Still don't know. And that's why I say to you that I came here to learn a lot from you, because this is something that no one can guarantee you. Whatever you do, you don't know whether you're going to see positive results or not. Because the measures that were taken so far in some countries, when they gave positive results, they didn't give positive results in some other countries. And we need to learn from each other, and we need to tackle this issue together. It's for the sake and for the benefit for all of us, either for Serbs, either for Hungarians, for Slovaks, for Czech, for all of us, for the future of Central Europe, for the future of an entire continent. I can tell you from my personal experience, every single day I travel throughout Serbia, and I try to give hope of the possibility of existence of an organized and modern state to young people, a state in which they will want and be able to start their families, a state where those families will live quality and comfortable lives because both of the spouses will have jobs, a state where they will clearly raise and bring up their more than 2.2, 2.3 children. One of financial assistance, no matter how high it is, cannot change anything. Permanent offer of stable and well-paid jobs changes the substance of family planning. And we think that we did a lot on that, but still we haven't seen much better results. In previous period, I tried from the most responsible position in Serbia to do everything I could as man to personally contribute to the progress of our society. But what I can see, it's more of immigrated people from our country and also less hope for the future that we see in an entire continent. Four or 5 years ago, we started with difficult reforms because we were facing bankruptcy as a state. Now we have a very good growth rate. Last year we finished with 4.5% growth rate. At the same time, for the fourth year in a row, we have a surplus in our budget. An unemployment rate is at its lowest, 10.3%, which is not as good as your results, but it used to be 25.9 just 6 years ago. Just to compare with those results, I think that you can easily see great improvement that we made in the recent period. I can also boast ourselves of being one of the biggest construction sites today, and kilometers of highways are being built one after the other. We are building our very modern railway from Belgrade to Budapest. We're going to connect each other, but the problem is we started to finance, we started to incentivize, to subsidize maternity wards, mothers, families, everything, but still results are not very visible. Although today we have first very small results. This year is a bit better than the last year, but I cannot say that this became a pattern, this became a new regulation or something that we can put all our hopes on. The law on financial support to families with children adopted on July 2018 envisages increase of parental allowance for the first, second, third and the fourth child. We almost tripled these incentives, and we see first small results in the poorest area of Serbia. I cannot confirm the same results in the richest parts of Serbia. Since we were not able to change the conscience of the middle class people, I'm not very optimistic. And that's another reason why I came here to listen to you, dear friends, and to see what we can do together, what we can learn from each other, and how we should tackle this issue in the future. You know, we fought, I think that Serbia or Serbs were participating. We always say it was not our fault, but we participated in the biggest number of wars in the 20th century, and the territory was something that we were always focusing on. Now, we shifted our focus from territorial issues to the issues of an ordinary people, to our survival. Literally, I mean it. And this is a problem of most European countries. In Serbia, like in Central European countries, there were similar negative demographic trends featured by several key characteristics: depopulation, aging, postponed birth, and migration. All of the above mentioned leaves a lot of space for our future cooperation in the field of demography in form of exchange of ideas, experience, and good practice examples. I believe in joint cooperation, and I expect that we will do many things in the area of incentivizing birth and family support. It is, or it has just become, one of the key objectives for Serbia. As I said, in the first 7 months of 2019, 741 more babies were born, comparing with the same period last year, resulting in 2.1% increase. There is a slight growth in 2018 of total number of marriages, almost 1% comparing with the last year. A number of first marriages increased by 0.3%. But the problem is that average age of bridegroom is 34.2 and the bride 31.1. We lose a half and almost one generation comparing to some countries, let's say Muslim countries from Asia. And we cannot overcome it. There are no measures that can change these numbers. When it comes to education and employment of women who have children, slight positive changes have been visible in Serbia in the past few years. In 2018, each fourth woman who gave birth to a third child is a highly educated one. A decade ago, this was beyond imagination. In this regard, the decision of the state to take this decisive action, though well-organized population policy, is the only real foundation for expectation that our plan of high fertility succeeds. We think that population policy measures give results only if they are meticulously planned, carefully implemented, with continuous efforts. And when I spoke to my friend Victor, he said to me, I don't know, I'm not sure, we are doing our best, but we'll see the real results in 10 years. And this is something, this area is not a very fertile ground for the results to be seen in a year or two. That's why we'll have to invest a very hard work, hard efforts to reach better results in a decade. Issues of demography and population policy are issues that concern each one of us. Pronatality measures are obligation of the state, but only all of us together with joint efforts of the state and citizen can endure in the intention to have sustainable, healthy, and educated posterity. I think also that what esteemed Cardinal has just said, we need to praise motherhood. We lost it somewhere. There are some other dominant topics, dominant themes, and meanwhile we lost it, something that was of the biggest significance of our own survival. Also, this harmony of obligations at work and parenthood is one of the burdens family needs to carry, and then also a psychological price of parenthood, which is quite high. The burden is on mothers aspiring to professional achievements, and when they get home, they have to deal with everything a traditional mother dealt with. To take care of child's education, its health, sick family member, to do the laundering, ironing, cooking. For that reason, it is necessary that we all work together on preservation of family as an irreplaceable part of the society, on strengthening fathers' role and on supporting mothers, because family remain the oasis of our joy, happiness, our refuge, and place we take energy from for all our life quests. Our goal is to create conditions so that parents could make decisions to have their first, second, third, and every next child more easily. We will engage full capacity of all necessary resources in order to enable children to be born and developed in our society. I sincerely hope the Church representative, in the spirit of fraternal love, will help us a lot in the future in defining the resolution of this terrible problem we are facing with. A great Serbian poet and the ambassador of our country to Hungary named his last book, I Believe in God and Serbianhood. I hope that his testamentary prayer, like this one of mine, after all is yours, will reach its listeners. And wanted once again to say many thanks to all of you, and again, I came here to learn a lot from you, and I can guarantee you only one thing, that Serbia will be very ready to work together with Hungary, with all the other Central European countries, and I'm certain if we work together, if we'll try, if we'll attempt to find the possible solutions of this problem together, I think that we'll get closer to that. Thank you once again for listening to me, and thank you for honoring me and giving me a chance to address you today. Thanks a lot.